Hello and welcome to My Safety Hub, your go-to source for all things health and safety. My name is Dylan Steyn and welcome back to another weekly review session. Ogret and I took a quick breather last week just to catch up on a few other things, but fear not, we are back and ready for action. But before we delve into this week's weekly review session, I have a few important announcements to make. First of which is My Safety Shop has launched new formal online training that consists of health and safety representative, OSH Act for Management, incident investigation, and basic firefighting. This is facilitated classroom online training, and if you want more information on this, I'll leave the link down in the description below. Secondly, Safety Wallet is launching a massive campaign starting in May that will incentivize employees for conducting their inspections, where they will be entered into a lotto raffle and stand a chance to win a 500 Rand voucher. I will be releasing a formal video about this initiative on Wednesday, so be sure to keep an eye out for that video. But that being said, let's welcome back Okert Furi. Okert, tell us, how was your week?
Well, so far it's been an interesting one. The last couple of days, have shown a couple of new developments, especially, on our side, that we're working on. So, yeah, looking forward to the rest of the year and a new month, obviously.
Indeed, indeed. We are already in the third month of the year. It's quite scary how fast time flies. But yeah, that being said, let's do another weekly review session. And for this week, we are specifically focused on manual handling. So I've got a few videos lined up here and I'm very keen to hear your insights. So without further ado, let's have a look at our first video. Right, so let's start off with this one. Seeing as we've just come out of the weekend, I think these gentlemen are preparing for their weekend.
I don't know how that's a good idea in any way or shape or form.
Definitely not. So they are having a very, very bad day. So what do you think happened there, Orchid?
Well, for me, it's this kind of issue started, at the beginning when they were actually loading the truck. I don't understand why they would load the pallet truck into the vehicle, knowing where they're going and probably knowing that there's no platform for them to pull it out on. And if they are going to pull it out the way they did, I don't see how they thought they were going to be able to control that load successfully. So, yeah, definitely not a lot of forethought or risk assessment in any form that I could see.
Definitely. I think they were a bit hasty to get that unloaded. I think they might have had some other plans for that load there. But one of the concerns that I have is if we have a look here, there's a forklift station just off the screen here. So my first question is obviously, why didn't they use the correct equipment? Could this be because of a lack of communication from their management to say, okay, rather use the pallet jack because it's quicker? I don't know why they thought it might be quicker, but this for me is definitely an ill use of equipment. So what do you think could have been done to prevent this from happening?
Well, I think definitely some planning to start with. It may be that the forklift is out of service, but if that's the case, then I mean have it repaired, get some maintenance in there, and make sure that the machine is operational. But having a good safe operating procedure would have helped. With that being said, having a proper risk assessment, proper communication, some planning, some forethought, knowing what you're going to be doing. If they notice that it would be an issue to get this tool out of the truck, why not unload the truck manually? It's going to cause a bit of strain, a bit of hard work, but at least you're going to save your stock. I mean, there was no way that pallet jack or pallet truck was going to get out there safely. It wasn't going to happen.
Definitely, I agree. So the takeaway for this video for me is preparation is key, and we can see that if the employer conducted a risk assessment, they could have foreseen something like this to happen. If they have foreseen that, they could have prevented that by communicating that through an SOP to these gentlemen, which could have spared them a lot of heartache. I can guarantee you that. But all right, an interesting one to start off with. Let's have a look at the second one over here. Here we can see this is a much more industrial setup as the previous one, and we can see there's no consideration for safety at all. So no PPE to what I can see. I see this gentleman over here is wearing sandals, which gives me the indication that this is definitely not a safe working environment. But let's have a look and see what happens here.
The housekeeping's going to trip him up.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
And as we can see, down that gentleman goes over there. So that was a very serious fall, and I think that plate that they were carrying had some substantial weight to it. Okay, I think that that guy might be out of commission for some time. What do you think happened here?
Well, he's definitely going to be off work for at least a few hours. But
Mm-hmm.
for me, the thing is, if you're going to do any manual handling like this, at least have a look at the route that you're going to take, plan, clean it up, make sure that your housekeeping's looked after. In any workspace where you have some manual handling, like the example that we've seen here, make sure that your housekeeping is looked after. I mean, slip, trip, and fall hazards is in the top 10, if it's not the number one
Yeah.
hazard out there. So at least look after that. But if you look at the image, you've frozen it now. I can't see any other safety devices. I can't see any signage. I can't see any firefighting equipment. So there's definitely a big lack of considerations towards health and safety in this workspace. So I can't see them cleaning it up if they've already got this frame of mind going forward.
Definitely. And this situation for me is very bad because I'm of the opinion they don't know what they don't know. I don't think that health and safety in general is even considered in this working environment. I don't think these gentlemen have ever heard of the things such as health and safety, control measures, SOP, risk assessment, or the likes, which is bad. And that's again why we create these types of videos and put out this content, is to try and educate as much people as possible to make them aware of certain hazards and risks. But in my opinion as well, if you work in an environment like this, surely something inside you should tell you, listen, something isn't right. Maybe I should do something a bit safer. Maybe I should do something a bit differently or act a bit differently. And that brings us back to the sense of self-ownership here with regards to keeping yourself safe. We spoke about Section 14 in previous sessions, and this is out and out that responsibility imposed on Section 14 is look after yourself, but also look after the guy next to you. So if ever you experience something like this or you feel unsafe, the onus is on you to go and do a bit of research to see if you can do this task a bit safer. And I feel if the bare minimum of that was done, this could have been prevented. Are you in the same opinion of that?
Yeah, I think it's a case of complacency. If you get exposed to the workspace, which looks like this enough times, eventually you stop seeing the issues. Maybe the first time you walk in there, you might think, I'm likely to trip and fall. I'm going to get hit by something. You may have a few near misses as well. But as the months go by, you get used to it. And you just accept the fact that, well, this is how it's done here. And unfortunately, that's the case in a lot of workplaces. And the sad part about it is that it's usually those workplaces where it leads to more serious types of incidents and accidents. But as you've mentioned, that's why we're on this educational drive and to get people to just start thinking a little bit differently about the work that they're doing.
Of course. And we've now seen here this accident was caused by a person or people factor. Let's have a look at the next one where the material or the tool that's being used is not up for the job.
Oh, my word.
And down that goes as well.
Well, I think it's a lack of checking, the tools and equipment that you're working with. Maybe they don't have a system to which they can record hazards and risks or report malfunctions with tools and equipment that they're using. Maybe they do. And even if they do, maybe it wasn't checked. Maybe the inspection was never carried out. But still a behavioral issue for me in the sense that there's no one that's really taking ownership and looking after the tools and equipment that those individuals are working with. Looks like it's in a kitchen, in some industrial kitchen of sorts. But do the inspections and make sure that the tools that you're using are fit for work.
I fully agree. And again, if systems were implemented, such as inspection, such as a risk assessment, you would identify equipment that is busy failing. And surely, when that is reported to maintenance personnel or to management, that needs to be rectified. But that
Mm.
video gives me a sense that there is no reporting structure for maintenance or hazards for that matter, which is why we saw something like that happen. Okay.
Mm. Mm.
Now, that being said, let's have a look at a last one over here. This is a bit of a wild card, which I think you will enjoy. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So the last one was a bit of a wild card there, and that was manual handling out and out. So what do you think went wrong there?
Well, again, proper planning. Make sure that you've got the right equipment, the right device. A small crane or even a
Hmm.
forklift. If you've got proper slinging techniques in place, you can lift that pipe with a forklift and sink it into the hole as long as you're not going over the weight limit when you're lifting the load. There's a couple of things they could have done differently. But again, this looks like an informal setting where work is being performed informally. It may be that it looks like they're trying to sink a well of sorts there. Uh, Again, it just goes back to looking at health and safety universally. It doesn't matter whether it's an informal setting or a formal setting. Health and safety needs to be looked after. Every employee needs to be valued. Because I can promise you, someone's paying for that well to be sunk. Someone's spending money on
Hmm.
it. And if it's a community initiative, that's all good and well. But then let's look after the members of the community and make sure that they can get the work done safely. Um, so yeah, it's unfortunate, but health and safety should be everywhere. I mean, it's not just a corporate thing. It's for every business. It doesn't matter what size they are and what kind of work they're doing.
I fully agree. So again, the key takeaways for these four videos for today is look after yourself, look after the person next to you, and if you ever feel unsafe, it is your responsibility to go and do a bit of reading, go and do a bit of research to see, can I do this task differently? Can I do this task safer? And hopefully, if you get that information for yourself, relay that through to other individuals as well to keep them safe as well.
Mm, mm.
Right. But guys, thank you very much for watching today. That's unfortunately all the time that we have for today. As I've mentioned in the beginning of this video, be sure to be on the lookout for Wednesday's video. That's going to be a very informative one. With that being said, as always, stay safe, stay inspired, and until next time, take care.
Cheers.